Hello everyone, I am Bob and this is the Home Bitcoin Immersion Mining channel. In this episode, I'm going to take a break away from talking about designing or building immersion mining systems and instead take some time to look at what could be the possible future for Home Bitcoin Immersion Mining. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so when we look at home Bitcoin immersion mining today, we see that mining is mostly done by do-it-yourselfers and home project enthusiasts. These are folks who have an interest in Bitcoin mining and like the challenge of building something unique, figuring out how to assemble many different components into a combined system, and getting everything to work together. However, when we look at the possible future of home Bitcoin immersion mining, I think there is a huge potential for a lot more than just hobbyists to be mining at home. And the key to expanding mining beyond the individual and into the masses is understanding how heating and air conditioning is done around the world. Now, in the United States, we have big homes, cold winters, and hot, humid summers. We build houses that are well insulated and sealed to make our way through the winter, but that makes our homes hot and uncomfortable in the summers. And so we need air conditioning in our houses to keep things manageable. And so homes in the United States are now designed with centralized air conditioning systems, where a large evaporator coil cools air that is then blown around the house through a ducting network. Now, why does this matter? Well, if you're going to build a house and route large air ducts for air conditioning around the house, it makes a lot of sense to use that same ductwork for heating as well. And so, most all homes in the United States have forced air heating. Hydronic-based heating systems are fairly rare here. Now, forced air heating is a huge barrier to using Bitcoin immersion mining in home heating. Integrating an immersion mining system into a forced air heating system is possible, and in future episodes, I'm going to show you a few different ways that this can be done. But it's not ideal. It would be much better if both the home heating system and the Bitcoin mining system used the same hydronic setup. Now, in Europe and other parts of the world, the story is quite a bit different. Central air conditioning isn't used as much. Homes either don't have air conditioning or they rely on smaller room-based systems, and so there isn't a network of air ducting built into most houses, and forced air heating isn't as common. Instead, home heating is done using hydronic systems, where a centralized boiler heats up water. This water is then pumped around the house through small diameter water lines, which then feed radiators in each room, keeping the house warm. Now, currently, most of these hydronic heaters are fueled by natural gas or oil, and this makes sense. Hydrocarbon fuel sources have historically been very cheap and available. However, in recent years, we are seeing this change. Natural gas and oil prices have risen substantially around the world. If this trend continues, there may be a point for the average homeowner where electricity may be the cheaper power source. In this case, instead of heating water by burning natural gas or oil, a hydronic heater powered by electricity could be the optimal heating source. And this is where a Bitcoin miner-based heating solution makes a lot of sense. A house with an existing hydronic system could add a Bitcoin miner as a water preheater or as a complete replacement for an existing oil or gas water heater. And this is where the future gets kind of interesting. In Europe alone, where hydronic heating is the dominant home heating source, there's around 200 million houses. If only 0.5% of these homes decided to use a Bitcoin-powered hydronic water heater, that would be 1 million homes. Now, assuming an average house size of at least 1,000 feet, and assuming an average heating need of at least 50 BTU per square foot, this gives you 50,000 BTU per house, or 14.65 kilowatts per house. Converting that into a mining hardware equivalent, that would be about 4 S19s per house. And with 1 million homes running Bitcoin-powered hydronic heaters, that would result in the equivalent of 4 million S19s worth of hash power. Assuming an average of, say, 100 terahash per S19, this would give you a total combined equivalent hash rate of about 400 exahash. And this is larger than the current total hash rate of the entire Bitcoin network. And that's an amazing fact. If just 0.5% of just European houses changed their gas and oil hydronic heaters to electrically powered Bitcoin mining heaters, they would easily eclipse the entire current Bitcoin hash rate. And this is where it's fun to think about possible business models and opportunities. Imagine a manufacturer of Bitcoin-powered hydronic heaters gave away heating units to homeowners with a condition that the homeowner would maintain internet connection and just pay the electricity costs. The homeowner would get a brand new hydronic heater for free, and the manufacturer would easily outcompete and outmine the entire Bitcoin mining industry with 100% free power. In addition to Bitcoin mining, these manufacturers could also use that internet connection to pass hardware health and status information back to service centers. This would allow that company to remotely monitor each heating system and then market and sell services immediately when something goes wrong. These Bitcoin-powered electrical heating systems could also be marketed to customers as the perfect green, carbon-free home heating solution. This could also be marketed as a solution for low-income homes needing to replace or update their existing heaters, where the cost of the heating equipment and installation are paid for by the manufacturer, who then recoups that cost through Bitcoin mining. Now, at the other end of possible business models is a direct sale of Bitcoin-powered hydronic heaters to homeowners themselves. Homeowners choosing this option would receive all Bitcoin mining proceeds, subsidizing the hardware and ongoing heating costs. Another option between total ownership and no hardware ownership is some sort of leasing arrangement. In this case, a manufacturer and homeowner would enter into a contract where hardware costs, mining rewards, and service agreements are negotiated to some sort of mutually beneficial agreement. The possibilities and opportunities here are really endless, and if multiple manufacturers are competing in this space, each homeowner would be able to choose the right option for themselves. Now, in this possible future world, mining hardware could also change quite a bit. Instead of the current idea of miners being these 30-pound boxes dipped into a dielectric tank, ASIC chips could be arranged into a modular heating core that directly heats the water. This modular core could be designed to be easily replaceable. Homeowners could swap out that core when it gets old, stops working, or newer, more efficient cores with newer ASIC chips are available. Heater core replacement could be negotiated as part of the regular service in some of these business models. And heater core replacement could also use a core deposit mechanism, similar to auto parts such as batteries, ensuring recycling of the hardware. And this new mining source could also drastically change the current Bitcoin overall mining landscape. Existing large Bitcoin mining firms could be replaced by home heating equipment manufacturers, who would then become the dominant miners in this space. Or another possibility is individuals around the world could each take ownership of their small share of the Bitcoin hash rate, truly decentralizing Bitcoin mining. And all of this would happen if only 0.5% of existing European hydronic heaters are replaced with Bitcoin-powered hardware. Imagine what would happen if 5, 10, 50% of home switches. Imagine what would happen if the rest of the world using hydronic heaters would also switch. Imagine what would happen if hydronic heating systems gained some adoption in the United States and elsewhere. The hypothetical possibilities here are pretty incredible, and all it would take is a single manufacturer to make a single Bitcoin-powered hydronic heater and sell it to an incredibly small fraction of current homeowners. Now, this was a fun episode to put together. This is a step away from my usual design and build format. If you liked it, hit the like button below and put a comment below. Let me know you want more of this type of content, and I'll fit in more of these type of episodes in the future. So with that, bye.